So let's talk about the issues you could run into. What if the doors are not tall enough? There are a couple of options. You can get a piece of white 1x4 and just rip it to this size, 1 3/8, put it above the track and then screw the track into that. That would sort of blend in. Or you might just shim the track down with something, although that may not look great. Another option would be to put some sort of block of wood underneath. Another issue is that they just don't fit. They're just a little too tight. Get them in, get them as close as you can to here, because you can't put this right up against here. See, they need room to move. So you've got to have like at least an 1/8 inch or 1/4 inch gap here. You can't just slam this thing up against there. So if they don't fit, get it as close as you can to this edge, to the pivot edge. And then, mark a line with your pencil where you have to plane this and plane that thing down. Let's say this was a 48 inch closet. So you got this set here and you have another set next to it. Now here's a challenge that can happen when you're installing dual bifolds, but it can happen with just one bifold. So imagine you're installing one bifold and this is the jamb right here. That's how you need to think of it. But when we got two bifolds, they fold and they touch each other in the middle. So these are the major issues that you run into. You installed the first one, you don't really know how it fits, you think it's okay. And then when you install the second one, they look like that. I'm exaggerating a little bit, but the gap is really big in the bottom and it doesn't look good on top. What are you gonna do? You don't wanna shave one of these doors. Save the shaving, planing as the last resort. Try to manipulate everything. So just think about it conceptually. You need to go like that. You need to move this one like that. So how do you do that? Let's leave this out of the equation for now. If you have to move this door, how do you do it? You can lift it up and move the bottom pivot on that bracket just like that. Or you can loosen the screw in that top bracket, pull it over toward the jamb more, and now you've moved it over. And then check it again. And now maybe you've moved, maybe it's still not perfect, or maybe you just went a little too far. And now you have no more gap over here against the jamb. You can't move this door in any way. And this is what your gap looks like. So you take this door and you just move it like that. So you manipulate the bottoms. You can lift these things up and move the bottom corners side to side, and you can loosen those screws and move the top corners side to side. So try to manipulate them however you can to get them working well. But what if they just hit in the middle and they just don't close? These things have to have a gap when they're fully closed, or it's going to be problematic. If you have to shove them, force them, it's not going to work. So what if you've done that and you just don't have, you've moved these things over as far as you can, but you just don't have the room? Don't plane these edges. Take the door off, plane this edge, and then move it back over. And if it's a big gap, plane both doors. But if it's just a little, just plane one door at a time and see if you can get it to work. Another thing with double doors, they may not line up. One set is going like this and the other set is going like this. So the bottoms don't line up. Like if you had a set of double doors, double bifolds, you'd want them to look like that. Well, if this one was out and this one was in, then you have to manipulate these things. Okay, you'd have to unscrew this thing and either pull it out or move the other one back, do whatever you have to get these things even. Another issue is that the door is too tall. That can be problematic when you're using hollow doors like this, because the bottom wood part is only about 3/4 of an inch to an inch. So if you have to cut off more than an 1/8 inch,
You can't do it with the hollow doors because you don't have anything to put your pivot into. If the opening is, you know, around 80 inches, you're fine. But if it's 79, 78, and you know you're gonna have to take, you know, a ½ inch or maybe 2 inches off the bottom of the door, make sure they have solid wood doors. Because you can cut 2 inches off a solid wood door and then just re-drill the hole and put the pivot in there. That's no problem. But you can't do that with a hollow door.
Bifold closet doors. Very easy, but you can often encounter little annoying things. And I actually hate doing these. Even though they're so simple, they're often very problematic, and I always try to talk people out of it. I mean, if they want them, and I install them. But I try to give them other options, better options, because they don't always realize they could put a swinging door in there, or maybe a barn door over there, something cool like that. These bifolds, as far as I'm concerned, should always be a last resort. You've been warned.